When we talk about the function notation up here, we did talk about this before, and we said that this is the same as y. So up here above this, I want you to put y equals x, okay? It doesn't matter how we change it. When we add to it, f of x is the same as y. That's your result. The reason we use that letter is because we're going to name our other function something other letter in regards to that. In your calculator, at some point later, this key y equals up here, we can put in functions and we can easily compare what's happening between them. So we're going to have our table, we're going to have our graph, and we're going to have our equation. The goal is that you can just look at the equation and tell how it's different from this without having a graph. But even when we get to Algebra 2, Pre-Cal, whatever, there's a lot of problems I've come up with that I didn't know what it was going to do, and we did a T-chart. What this is called. If we have a T-chart, I can use whatever numbers I want to fill them in. Normally we do these to start out because it centers your graph. You don't want to do 100 or 50 or 10 because it's going to be way off out here. You want something that's going to be centered. So, up here above this, just so we can see it, let's write y equals x. And think about it. If y equals x, and x is -2, what's y? -2. Okay, they're equal. If x is -1, what's y? -1. So for our parent function, it doesn't change. Let's plot our point. -2, -2. -1. Here's 0. 1, 1. 2, 2. And we're going to label our graphs on each one of these. And let's write parent right here. Take the parent function. We're going to want this on every single graph. So if you're going to test somewhere and it says, which of the following is the parent function of a linear function? So straight line, it goes through where on the y-axis? The origin. And notice the slope. We're going to talk about slope. So this doesn't have a +0 here. But if it did, that's what we call our y-intercept. It's that number at the end. Then look at this. Up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. Here's stair-step 1 here. That's our slope. The number that's right here is slope. So in this case, it's just 1. So we're going to talk a whole lot more about those, but I want us to be thinking about that vocabulary. You should have heard it before. We need to start being reminded of it. So we're going to make some comparisons here. If this is our parent function, and remember this can be f of x is the same as y, we want to compare this other function to it. So underneath here, y equals f of x is always just our x plus 2. So I'm going to start with my parent function. Put it on your graph. Same as above. Right line. And right up there, parent function. Y equals x. And then we want to see, how does this change? This is our process column, which means this is what we're thinking. This is our y. When we go to graph, we're only going to want to graph. We only want to graph this one and this one. So, if x is -2, what's -2 plus 2? 0. 0. What's -1 plus 2? 0 plus 2. And we're going to continue. Ready? Plot the point. -2, 0. -1, 1. 0, 2. 1, 3. 2, 4. So how is the green line different than the blue line? It's what? Okay, it's two higher. So the green line, especially if we look at our intercepts right here, in the graph, move up 2 units. So in general, how does the graph of a parent function change when we add c, which is just some number? So if we add c to it, we want to use the correct vocabulary and say that it shifts, say vertically, or we could just say it shifts up. So I want to start with the parent function, and then I want to compare with this one. So this one is y equals x minus 3. What I want you to be able to do is to start predicting what you think your line is going to do. Well, if adding made it go up, what do you think subtraction is going to do? I think it's going to make it go down. So what is negative 2 minus 3? Negative 5. Negative 1 minus 3. Continue. 0 minus 3. 1 minus 3. 2 minus 3. Because what you're doing is you're taking these x's, putting them in place of x in your equation, and you're filling them in. So we only want to graph x and y. That middle column is just to help you think about it. So we've got negative 2, negative 5. Negative 1, negative 4. 0, negative 3. So on. And this is our line. Y equals x minus 3. So did it go down? Yes. Yep. So it's what we expected. Graph. Move down. How many units? 2. Because it's minus 3. Look at your intercepts. 0, 0, 0, negative 3. Went down 3. Again, that's not a coincidence. If that's where your number is that you're subtracting, that's your y-intercept. That's where it should start. So in general, if we're going to subtract c, correct terminology is that our graph is going to shift down. And sometimes you'll see the word vertically, because that's what it means, is up or down. So if you see vertically, it means it moved up or down this way. K of x, which name another function, equals 2 times f of x, is the same thing as y equals 2x. So if we have 2x, this is our x, that's our y. What does 2x mean we're doing? Multiplying. So, what's 2 times negative 2? Negative 4. 2 times negative 1. 2 times 0, 0. 2 times 1. 2 times 2. So, again, we're plotting x and y. So we want 2, negative 4. 1, negative 2. 0, 0. 1, 2. Where do they cross over the y-axis at? 0, 0. Is there anything being added to 2x? Mm-mm. Zero. So this says, how did the graph change from the graph to the parent function? How's the purple line different from the blue line? This one up, the particular word that we're looking for. Increases faster, which means it's what? You've got a cliff or a hike or whatever. It is slow. It starts with S. Steeper. Because this one is up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1. This one is up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. So this one is getting bigger faster. Staircase is steeper because of the 2 that's in front. So, in general, if, and write this underneath it, if the number in front of x is greater than 1, then it's going to be steeper than our parent function. You know that, it just means it's another function. We could say y1, y2, y3, y4 is 1/2 of x. So we're still multiplying. So what's 1/2 of -4? -2. What's 1/2 of -2? 1. And you can put this in your calculator at 0.5 if you need to. 1/2 of 2, 1, half of 4, 2. Okay, so we want to plot our points. -4, -2. -2, -1. 0, 0. 3, 1. 4, 2. So this is our line, y equals 1/2 x. What's different from our red line to our blue line? It's not as steep. Okay, so this one is less steep than our parent function. And so what this means is, in general, if A is this between 0 and 1. So this means if it's a fraction, if the number in front of x is a fraction, which is your slope, it's going to be less steep. Because it means it's not rising as fast. So it's going up 1 over 1 each time. You're only going up 1 over 2. Up 1 over 2. So it's not going to get big as fast. So if it's negative x, the other thing we can think about with negative is opposite. It's like what we're doing with the sugar property. If you multiply by a negative, get the opposite sign. So if I want the opposite of -2, what do we get? Positive. Opposite of -1. Opposite of 0. 0. Opposite of 1. And opposite of 2. Because another thing we can say is that this is an understood 1. And so if we're multiplying that -1 through there, it's the same as we do with multiplying the rest of them. We're going to get the other side. So let's plot our points. We have -2, 2. -1, 1. 0, 0. 1, -1. 2, -2. So this line is y equals -x. So how did the graph change? What happened to the green one? Kind of. It is. This one is, think about this. If this one's going up 1 over 1, up 1 over 1, what's the other one doing? Right. So it's doing the opposite. So if you have a negative in front, it changes direction. It goes from increasing to decreasing. So in general, how does the graph of the parent function change when you have a negative? Say it changes from increasing to decreasing. So those are our basic transformations. We have adding something to the end makes it go up or down. Change the number in front of x, makes it steeper or less steep. Adding negative is going to flip the whole thing around. Then just one change. Look down here at number 10. Negative 1/4 is f of x plus 6. What's the plus 6 going to do? Okay, so this is going to shift up 6. What does the 1/4 do? Steep or less steep? Less steep. And what does the negative do? Okay, changes direction. You could say changes direction, changes to decreasing, opposite direction. Okay, but that's what those do.